What happens to people that want to invest in real estate and they never done it before? Well, it almost happened to me. One time I was in the internet, right, searching around, surfing the web, like I say, and I ran into a real estate bidding on homes. So there was one particular home that a person was selling, and for the price, I said, that's pretty good. So there was more people bidding, so I bid, and looks like I put a price that the person agreed upon. And I remember the person that was selling the property, he goes by the name of Mountain King. So this person called Mountain King was selling this property on eBay. So the offer that I put, he accepted it. So I told him, okay, well, can I see the property? He said, where you from? I told him, well, I'm in New York City. And he was from Pennsylvania, somewhere else. And he said, all right, so what I could do, I can go over there within 2 days. I don't know where he was, that he said in 2 days, he was anxious to sell it. I don't know why. But that's the big mistake that somebody going to, you see somebody anxious, he wants to get rid of something and put it on you. So he insisted that he come over here. So we made the appointment, the arrangements. I met him over here in New York City, and he came with the deed already to transfer. So I signed some papers. I don't know what they were. They said it's deed, so I signed it, and I wrote him a check. Thing is, I never seen the property. That's one thing. Before you do anything, if you an experienced investor in real estate and you don't mind buying property sight unseen, is okay. But when a person don't knows and you purchase somebody and you write a check for a certain amount and you don't see the property, you don't know what you're getting into. So I wrote him a check, but I was curious, and the next day I called my brother. Listen, I think I purchased a property somewhere in the other state, in Pennsylvania. So I need you to come with me so we could check it out. So we went over there. It was 5-hour drives from New York all the way up there. We even passed Amish town. We were seeing all these Amish buggies, and I said, oh, this thing is pretty far. So all right, so let's see, because the picture that he took, he must have had a nice camera. He took it in the spring. He had a nice garden. It was green. The house appeared nice, like a cottage home. So we was driving, and when we got there, I said, I hope that's not the house, because the house was like right on the edge of the main road, not an express road, but in the main road when small vehicles pass. So I said, I hope that's not the house. But it was, and the house was not located in the right place. You only had small amount of distance from walking from the sidewalk to the property. And then when the property, I think it was owned by a whole family, another house was behind it. So in order to get to the other house, you had to cross through the property to the other house. Anyway, so that house that I purchased, I made a check. That house was unrepairable. I mean, you could repair it, but he said that he only needed sheetrock and some electrical work. But when I went in there, I mean, we had to even get through the window because they didn't even give us the keys. So I didn't want to even look at it. I said, listen, I don't want this. Let's go back to New York. And I'm going to call my bank to cancel this check. And my brother was just said, no, let's go check it out. Let's see how it looks. We could probably fix it. No. I was just saying, nah, I don't want it. But so we had to go in through the window. And when we got inside, forget it, it was leaking. Because we went over there like in the winter, and the chimney was full of snow, ice melting on the walls. The walls were spongy. The floor where you walk was bouncy. I mean, yeah, you could bounce literally on it like a trampoline. And I said, listen, I don't want this. Let's get us. And now let's go check the basement. What are we gonna check? This house is ruined. It's not even worth $1. I'm telling you, if you're not an experienced real estate and you don't know what you're doing, then you could buy houses unseen, and you could repair the damage, and the potential that a property could bring is okay. But for the average person, don't never buy a house sight unseen, because it's gonna cost you time and delay. So I was just upset, My insides tightening. I was cramped up. I said, yo, that's the biggest mistake I ever made. I got to try to cancel this check. As soon as we got in the car, I was calling my bank. They have to cancel this check. And I didn't even call the guy. I just called. It was on a weekend, so I was calling my bank all the way from Saturday, Sunday, and Monday morning. I went straight to the bank and tell them, yo, I need you to cancel this check because I had the receipt with the number. Always keep your receipts. And I need you to cancel this check. He said, okay, all this is done. The check is canceled. So when the guy went to deposit the check to cash it, they looked at him and he was upset because he said that he probably robbed the check because the check wouldn't cash. So he coming back, what did you do? You know, I can't cash the check. Yeah, you can't cash the check because I canceled the check. That property's not worth $1. I told him. You told me you just needed a little, minor repair, like sheetrock and electrical, and he had, certain supplies inside the house already because he was doing the work. But believe me, the house could not be repaired just with sheetrock and electric. You had to knock down the whole house. It was already damaged by water. The floor was bouncy, spongy. The location of the house was not good because it was only your entrance. It had two entrances right through your property. There was another house in the back, and they had to walk through the back alley from your house to the other side of the house. So it was not a good idea. So that was my experience since trying to buy a house unseen. It's a disaster. If you're not an experienced real estate or a contractor that you can do the work, don't ever do that because you're going to lose money and time. So this person, like I said, I still remember his name, Mountain King, had this listing of this house. But when I went up there, it was just disaster. I couldn't just believe it that I just wrote out a check to a person without seeing the property. People, before you buy anything, go and check it out and view it yourself. Because if he would have cashed that check, it would have been a done deal. I got stuck with a house that's not worth a penny. It was probably good for recycle. You couldn't even recycle the wood or anything because everything was soaking wet, spongy. Remember, it was in the winter out there in the woods in the Amish town. The house was just drenching water. And then other people were calling me, oh, you bid on the house? I bid on the house too. How does it look? I tell them to take my advice. The house is not worth $1. Don't even write a check to it because you're gonna lose your money. The house is not worth anything. So I was writing to other investors that was also betting on the house. I guess he left the site open and people were still betting on the house. He never took it off the listing. And so people was betting and he probably was writing back to them. And people that were bidding also never seen the house. But I went the next day and checked out the property, and the property was not worth what he was asking for. Even though it was a good price, for a piece of land and house altogether, it was not worth the trouble. So I will never do that again. The next time you buy a house, you better be on the premises or take time to go over there and check out the property. Because it could be very bad if you buy the check and the person catches the check and you lost out money because you agree to purchase and you get them a check without having an inspection, having to do any diligence. I even checked on the property tax. I'm going to find out, I always check when I'm going to purchase a piece of property. I would check the property taxes. It's just reasonable to buy a property there because some places the property tax are more than the house is worth. I'm not going to do that. Paying more tax than what the property is worth. So I was check on the property tax. Anywhere I'm going to buy a property, piece of land, I would check how much is the property taxes and what they're charging. Some people don't even put that these properties got home association fees. You got to check that too, because you could buy a home and the next thing you get a letter in the mail that you got homeowners association fee, and then you can't do certain things because some homeowners association fee you cannot just paint your house the color you want. You cannot just change the shades, the door. You got to keep it to the decor that the organization has. Everything has to be in uniform. So you just not cannot paint, change windows of certain styles, all kinds of. It's a mess. And homeowners association fees. When you get into that, you have to also get into it and read the pamphlet of regulation. And they got like their own constitutional and what to do, even though their rules have nothing to do with the law of the land. Constitution, they cannot force you, but when you agree to do something, is that an organization body, you have to do what the contract says. So that's your part. So, and homeowners association fee, that's another thing that could cost you trouble. If you like to, be open-minded and fix your home the way you like it, paint it, you can do it. But anyway, the thing was about the real estate, buying homes unseen. If you're not an experienced contractor that you like to, you don't mind how much the property costs because you know the potential, what you can get out is okay. But other than that, never buy a home unseen. So that Mountain King, you almost got me, and you probably got others. But before that happened, I got you. The check was canceled, and that's it. So anyway, that's my experience, and let other people know. Never buy things unseen. With that, I let you go and you think about that.